Time is money. Everybody can acknowledge that, and I get asked all the time, not just what's going to cost, how long it's going to take.
Right.
And my answer now is much more than you think, and much longer than anybody wants.
Right.
Anybody right now in the state of Florida that is saying, I can get it done tomorrow, I could start tomorrow, I can get it done tomorrow, run. Just run. If you are not honest and realizing, look at your own life. Anything that you do, unless it's Amazon, right? Everything takes longer right now. It is just the new normal. I think going back to an earlier point talking about is you got to over communicate. You really have to set realistic expectations here. You are going to pay for it in the end. There is no not paying for it financially or in time. So do the homework first. You know, and if you're not sure, if your contractor's not sure, if they're not great at scheduling, you'll know real quickly just in having the conversation with them, as opposed to just saying, "Oh, no, we'll get it done tomorrow." Like, well, okay, how? Yeah. Show me how. Are they going to produce a Gantt chart? Are they going to, stage this? Like, what is the definition of done? I would start, I think that's a problem in the industry actually, is most people just avoid the difficult conversations. They don't want to talk about money up front. They just avoid it. That's why you give a free estimate and you just try to get in there and you get this arranged marriage, or you just make promises that you just cannot keep. It's wishful thinking.
Yeah. Over promising and under delivering. I mean, that's the biggest part. That's the biggest complaint I hear from homeowners who are having problems with their contractors. Well, he told me it would just take, 3 months and this whole thing would be done. And here it is a year later and we're like not even close. And it's that expectations, it's setting it up the right way. And these are usually just verbal conversations, because a lot of contractors don't like to put in their contract a promise on how long something is going to take. And again, it's understandable. There are certain factors outside of your control that's going to affect the timeline of things. As owner interference to the unavailability of materials to a pandemic. I mean, you just never always know. So so for owners, they're often just being kind of told this verbally, and they remember what they were told first, but they don't necessarily remember like what happens later. So if you're a contractor, you do need to document what you're saying to people, and if you're an owner, you want to make sure you're communicating.
And as much as I joke about Amazon, it's also not the way the construction world works. I remember having we had a motorized a blind and a skylight, motorized skylight. And we installed it. A couple days later, it stopped working. And I remember going out to the house and looking at it and going, had a nice conversation, said, nope, doesn't work, I'll replace it. And I left. I was sitting in the car, my truck, and I got a text message from the homeowner. I was, sitting there in my truck for a few minutes, and the text message was, I'm really not happy with the way you resolved this. And I got out of my truck and rang the doorbell. I go, wait, I just left. And said, she goes, but I want you to fix it now. And I remember, this is years ago, I was saying, I am going to fix it, but I don't have an app to fix it. I have to get a new one. It's sitting on a shelf someplace. I have to get the new one installed. And I felt like such a condescending guy, but I just had unrealistic expectations on how it was going to get resolved. And I'm glad that I hadn't left, because she just didn't understand why I couldn't reset it with my phone. It was the physical world that I had to. It was a defective item.
Yeah.